So what you're looking at here is a Honeywell Ademco Vista 20p alarm system panel, and what I'm going to be doing is filming a video on how I connected my garage door opener to the panel in order to use the keypads to open and close the door. I was originally looking for a video on this to give me a little bit of help in hooking this up. I couldn't find one. There's a lot of informative videos out there about installing a panel, about configuring zones and whatnot, but nothing in regards to this. So hopefully this will help someone out, make this job a little easier than it was for me having to research it all. So I'll show you what I did to get this to work right now. So we're out here in the garage now. Essentially, to get this to work, there's three things you're going to have to do. You're going to have to run a cable out here, which I already did. This is 4-pair 2-conductor wire that I ran down to the alarm panel and up here to the garage door opener. You're going to have to do the connections in the opener and obviously the connections in the alarm panel. And the last thing you have to do is a little bit of programming, which we'll get into later. Alright? So to the first step, like I said, I already ran the cable. Cable, as you can see, is stapled to the ceiling here. Cable runs down the wall. Okay, comes down the wall here, down to this junction box that was already existing on the wall for the sprinkler clock. All right, and what you can see is just the wire coming out of the wall and looping out. Now, the reason I have a loop here, as you can see, or if you can remember from what I originally said, I ran 4-conductor cable out here. Reason I ran 4-conductor gives you 2 pairs. Okay, 1 pair is going to be used for the activation of the contacts for the garage door opener. Okay, the other pair is going to be used. I'm going to mount a reed switch or a contact switch on the floor down here in the corner, which is basically going to show up on the system once we program it as a zone if the door is open or closed. Now, the reason behind this is that the functionality is that you can be at any one of the keypads in the house and see on the display if the garage door is open or closed. Obviously, if it's open and you want to close it, you can hit the button on the keypad and close it. Without that, without having the magnet, obviously you're going to be opening and closing the door blind. You're not going to know its state if it's open or closed without the magnet. Okay, and that basically sums up the wiring. Okay, so up here on the ladder now, we're looking at the back of the garage door opener, and as you can see, we have 3 screws. All right. First thing that we got to do is figure out which 2 screws actually activate this to open or close the door. Alright, now looking at this, we know right off the bat that one of these screws is going to be a common. Okay, so more than likely it's probably going to be the middle screw in my case. The other screw is going to be, like I said, for the other side of the button to open and close it. The other screw is for the sensors. If you can see down there, there's one of them. The actual laser sensors that stop the door from opening if there's an obstruction. So really a quick way of seeing which ones do which is you can just take something and short the pins out. So I got my my wire cutters here. And as you can see, when I short those 2 screws out there, it opens and closes the door. That tells me that those are the 2 screws we need to wire the cable to. So we're going to do that now. Okay, so wire spliced, terminated onto the screw terminals here. Doesn't really matter what color goes to which, you just need one on one screw and one on the other. I just, for the sake of it, attached the black to the, well, I guess you'd call it the common on the control panel here, and the red on the, I guess you can call the positive. The green and white, the other pair in this, is just tied off up here and not connected to anything, because essentially in this piece of wire from the opener down to that junction box, the green and the white are going to be cut down there to run over to the reed switch, which again we're going to do later in this video or in another video. Next we're going to go down to the alarm panel and start our connections down there. Okay, so we are back down here in the basement now at the control panel. Here's the other end of our cable that we just hooked up to the garage door opener. Okay, at this point, red and black wires, if we touch them, it should activate the garage door, and I can hear very faintly down here in the basement the garage door opening right now. So we did that part correct. The next part of this is going to be wiring it up to the panel, and I'm going to show you what we're going to use for that right now. And that's going to be a relay. This is just a relay I had laying around from some old alarm parts I had. You can use any relay for this, a single pole, single throw relay. Okay, it's going to have you know, your standard common screw, a normally closed screw, and a normally open screw. That's where we're going to connect our garage door wires to. Since the garage door circuit is normally open, we're going to connect our black wire to the common, and we're going to connect our red wire to the normally open side. These two leads coming off here is what actually controls the coil in the relay to turn on and off whatever you have connected to your dry contacts. These are going to get connected to the alarm panel. We're going to show you that next. But let's go ahead and get this relay set up. Now, just a little piece of advice. What I'm actually showing you this relay on is an old alarm panel that I had from an old house of mine. Ripped the alarm system out. I kept the panel. Always save your panel boxes and cases. Alright, because what I'm going to be doing is installing this relay, and as you can see in here, the panel gets cluttered really quick. We could probably find a home to mount this up in the top corner here. But I'm going to be adding some other things to this alarm system in the future, maybe doing some more videos. I want to put a siren driver, maybe do some home automation with lights, and I'm not going to have any room for all these boards. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is mount this panel underneath the Ademco panel in there. We can mount all of our relays and the siren driver, like I said, and anything else I want to add to this in the future in here, and try to keep the wiring and the panel a little less cluttered. So let me install this now. Okay, so as you can see, I went ahead and got the cabinet mounted to the wall. I got our relay mounted inside the cabinet, and I have our garage door opener wires, the black connected to the common and the red connected to the normally open side of the relay. Relay outputs, the dry contacts I should say. The rest of this is the actual relay trigger wires, a red and a black, is going to be connected to the alarm panel itself. Where these are going to be connected to is right here. These are the output triggers for the alarm system. Alright, the Ademco Vista 20p, as I've been stating. On our wiring schematic here on the door, you can see exactly here. So this is the 8-pin connector. Usually you connect the X10 transformer to this so you can control things in-house via X10. We're going to go ahead and use the output triggers that are built onto the system right now. There's actually 2 of them. And as you can see here, pin number 1 is output trigger number 17, and pin number 5 is output trigger number 18. We're going to use output trigger number 17. That's going to be one of the wires. The other wire is going to get connected to the 12 volt auxiliary pin, which is number 3. Not to ground, okay? The closure on this is going to be looking for 12 volts DC to trigger the relay, okay? Not ground. Ground would not work. So again, we're going to connect it to pin 1 and to pin 3. The way we're going to connect that to that is by means of a standard keypad connector that is going to connect into this way. Alright, and in that case we're going to be using the yellow wire for the trigger 17 output and the red for the positive 12 volts DC output. So we're going to go ahead and get those connected right now. Okay, so wiring complete. Alright, we have our black and our red from our relay. That is connected to the yellow and the red on our keypad connector here. The red is connected to the red wire in the connector, and the black is connected to the yellow wire in the connector. Alright, and then I already did it, but all it's really a matter of doing then is taking the actual keypad connector and plugging it in, starting at the first pin on the left and working your way over. And that's it, wiring complete. As I stated, the green and the white wires are going to be used for a contact switch that we're going to put on the door opener so we can see on the keypad upstairs the status of the door, if it's open or closed. It's not necessary to get the opener to work, to go up and down, but I think it's something that like I said, would really help out. We're going to do that in a later video. I'm not going to do that in this one because it's technically not related to what we're doing in terms of programming the output trigger, because it's not needed, like I said. Let's go upstairs. We'll do some programming on the system now to get this to work, and that's pretty much going to wrap it up. Okay guys, just a quick note here before I show you the programming manual. You have to really make a decision here what you want to do now. And before I even get into that, let me say that you need a 6160 alpha keypad, which you see right here. Okay, without this, it's going to make programming very, very difficult because it's going to be lacking the actual alphanumeric display on here, which is going to prompt you through the menus when you're pressing the keys. So this is really important. You should have one of these to do the programming. And like I was saying, you have to make a decision here. How do you want the garage door to activate? Okay, there's a couple different things to do. If you have a key fob that attaches to your keychain, you can carry that around your car and hit a button on that to open and close the door. You could program a key sequence on here where you put your code in and hit a button to open and close the door. Or you could do it the way I'm going to be doing it. I'm going to program one of these function keys here. In particular, this bottom key on the left here. And that is going to open and close the door when I press this. Alright, so let's look in the manual now and we'll go over the programming parameters for this. Okay, so as I was saying, the first step is to program that key. So you're going to enter into programming mode on your panel, which I'm going to show you hands-on on the keypad in a second. But basically you need to have the installer code for your system, which is most likely a 4-digit code. Okay, so you put the 4 digits in. The default on an Ademco Vista 20p is 4112. Alright, so you'd enter 4112 and then you'd enter 800, which gets you into programming mode. At that point you're going to enter star 57, which is function key programming. First thing it's going to ask you for is what key you want to program. So as I was saying, the keys are labeled A through D. The bottom key is key D. We're going to press the D key and hit start to continue. Next thing it's going to be asking for is what partition we want to program this key in. More than likely in your house you're only going to have one partition program. That's going to be partition number 1. You're going to enter 1 and hit star. Next thing it's going to be asking you for is what you want that key to do. Okay, now in the manual there's a whole list of things here that key can do. We're going to be programming it for 07, which is an output device command, okay, which is another step of programming that we're going to be doing after this. Now basically what the output device command programming is programming the pins on the panel that we plug that connector into and hooked our relay up to. Alright, so we're going to enter 07, okay, and hit star. And that's really it. At that point you're going to hit star 99 and that's going to exit out of function key programming mode, and we're going to proceed to the next step in programming. Okay, so the second and final field that needs to be programmed now is in star 80. Okay, and what this field is basically doing is it's going to tell what the pins that we connected those wires to in the panel are going to be doing when that function key that we just programmed is pressed. Okay, so to get into this mode, again, you got to enter the installer code, in my case 4112, then 800, which gets you into programming mode, and then you would put star 80. Okay, so the first thing it's going to be asking you for is output function number. Now what this basically is that the system can hold 48 different commands, okay, labeled 1 through 48. That's just the address in its internal memory. So since this is the first command we're going to be programming, we're going to put 01 and then hit star. The next screen is going to be basically just a summary screen telling you that you're going to be programming field 1 now, and it's giving you all the selections and choices. This is a very confusing screen because you actually don't even do anything with this. So just hit star and that's going to continue on to the next step. The next step is going to be asking you what this memory position is going to be activated by, okay, and you have a few choices: zone list, zone type, and zone number. The system sees the function keys as a zone type, okay, so you're going to enter in 2, which is zone type, and then you're going to hit star. Zone list you're going to skip because that was one of the selections here that we didn't select, Alright, we again selected zone type, so we're going to skip down to section B, which is again zone type. Alright, and what it's basically asking you for here is you have to make a selection from this menu over here exactly what this zone type is. Okay, now the system sees the function keys, okay, as a type 66. Alright, so what you're going to do is put 66 in here and again hit star. That's going to bring you to the next step. Again, zone number was one of those initial selections there. Again, we chose zone type, so we're skipping over this. The next thing it's going to be asking you for is output action. Okay, what are those pins going to do when that button is pressed? Well, you can see from the selections over here, we want those pins to basically short for 2 seconds, and what that's going to do is when those pins short, it's going to activate the relay and open or close the garage door. So that is selection 1. Okay, so you're going to put 1 and then hit star again. What this is asking for is which pin am I sending this command to, and if you remember when we were connecting these to the panel, I told you that that pin was trigger 17. Alright, so what you're going to do is put 1, 7 and again hit star, and that's it. This is going to be giving you the summary screen now of all those fields we just programmed. Again, nothing is to be done here. Hit star, and that completes the programming on the system. Alright, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you a hands-on tutorial on the actual keypad of doing those 2 programming steps that I just showed you in the manual, and after that the door should work. So let's shoot over to that now. Okay, so we're over here at the keypad now. We're going to go through all those programming steps physically on the system now that we just went over in the manual. First step that we got to do is we got to enter into programming mode. So we got to enter our 4-digit installer code, -4112, then 800 to enter into programming mode. It's going to say installer code 20, confirming you are in fact in programming mode. First programming field we're going to go into is *57, which is the programming of the function keys. It's asking us press key that we want to program. Again, we want to program key letter D, which is the bottom key here on the left. We're going to press that. It's going to confirm that we did in fact press key D by saying function key D. We're going to hit star to confirm. Partition, and more than likely you're going to be in partition 1 in your house because there's only going to be 1 partition installed, so we're going to hit 1 and star. Key function. So it's asking us what the function of that key is going to be. As we saw in programming, so that this is going to be programmed as a 07, and we're going to hit star, and that completes the programming of that key. It's going to say function key A now. That means if we want to program any other keys, we don't. So we're going to hit the pound or number sign, whatever you want to call it, in the corner here. We're going to then hit 0 to quit, and it's going to bring us back to our home screen here in programming. And we're now going to go into our final field of programming, which is *80. And the first thing it's going to be asking us for is the output function number. Again, this is just the location in the system memory where we're going to be programming. Okay, this is our first function, so it's going to be 01, hit star. This is that summary screen, which we don't do anything in. We're just going to hit star to get past that. And it's going to say 01 is activated by. Okay, 01 is going to be activated by a zone type, as we've already discussed in the manual. So we're going to hit 2, and zone type comes up, and we're going to hit star. It's going to say enter zone type. Okay, this is going to be a type 66. Which is basically telling us that it's a function key. So again, we entered 66 and we're going to hit star. Partition number, again we're in partition 1, so we're going to hit 1, hit star. It's going to ask us now for the output action. Okay, again we want to close for 2 seconds. Those 2 pins are going to short for 2 seconds. So in the manual, to close for 2 seconds, we're going to enter a 1. And it's going to pop up here on the screen confirming. We're going to hit star. Output number. It is asking us for the pins on the control panel. Again, when we're setting those wires up, I told you that that was called pin 17 or trigger 17. So we're going to put 1, 7, hit star. And that completes programming. It's going to give you a summary screen here. We're going to hit star to go past that. And it's going to ask us if we want to program option or output number 2. We don't, so we're going to hit the pound sign. We're going to hit 0, 0 to quit. It's going to bring us back to our main programming menu. We're going to hit star 9, 9. And that is going to exit us out of programming mode and return us to our normal home screen here. And that completes programming. Okay, as I've stated, we completed programming on the system now, and let's see if it works. I am actually right next to the garage.
Garage door.
Now, the way the function keys work is that you got to press and hold them until you hear the keypad beep. Okay, once you hear the beep, that means that the function has been sent down to the control panel. So let's press and hold this button. And there you go. As you can see, the garage door is opening. I'll let that completely open. Okay, now if we press and hold this again, the garage door is closing. So that pretty much wraps up programming the system. I hope you guys found this video informative. If you got any questions about anything, if I wasn't clear on something, leave it in the comments section below. I will answer them as best as I can. And thanks for watching.